All right, guys, what's up? It's Jack, and welcome back to another video, and welcome back to Black Ops 2 in the year 2023, and this is brand spanking new footage. I actually played about a 2-hour session or so, a little while before I went to go play pool today, and after I got back, I came back, of course, to do this, to record this. So the gameplay you're seeing is brand new from that session, bits and pieces from that session, so for whatever it's worth, I hope you enjoy it. So today we're going to be discussing my experience, and we're also going to be discussing whether or not I think you guys should rebuy these games if you don't have the discs already. So if you have an Xbox 360, if you have an Xbox One, or if you have an Xbox Series X or S, and if you have the discs, you should be able. Well, I think the Series, no, the Series S actually, I don't think that has disk drive, but the thing is, but you can still play it if you download it digitally online, which I don't recommend because they are still overpriced even if they give you a discount. So but at GameStop, though, I saw at my local GameStop earlier today that let's say Modern Warfare 3 and Black Ops 1 were worth about $5 a piece, but it depends on the Call of Duty game, really. Some of them are worth a little more, actually. Some were worth a lot more, but anyway, thankfully for me, I still had my Black Ops 2 disc. So let's start with my experience. Well, my experience overall is that I left it, like, when I played this game last, like at least on a consistent basis, I believe it was 2017. And then I just kept on running into hack lobby after hack lobby and stuff like that. And then I think I even ended up making a video basically saying goodbye Black Ops 2. And I pretty much put it down. I think the last time I actually played it before that, or should I say after that, or should I say before this session, was when they announced, like, to where you could, you could have it backwards compatible on the Xbox One or something like that. Something, I don't know. Oh, no. It was when people thought that the cheating situation was fixed. And I'll tell you right now that unfortunately that is not the case. However, I will say this. I did have a very good amount of non-cheating lobbies, actually, and quick. Like really quick. I found a lobby really quick. There was 3,600 people online, and this was at 10 p.m. somewhere between 10 and 10:30 p.m. Eastern time, my time. So I was not on at peak hours by any stretch of the imagination. So I was certainly not on peak hours. And my experience, again, was very similar to how it was all those years ago. It was very mixed, except I was able to find lobbies that were very consistent in terms of, no cheaters. But at the same time, I ended up running into cheaters as well. So just let that be known. It's not like there's no cheaters or anything like that. But I was actually surprised to find that my stats were actually on par from what I could remember, because the last time I checked, my stats were like somebody had messed with my stats. So in terms of what they're able to do, they can kick you from lobbies and stuff like that, which, by the way, I did end up getting kicked from a lobby. So I guess when I did too well, I guess somebody kicked me from the lobby. So it is what it is. But ultimately, Black Ops 2, that's basically the experience of Black Ops 2. Now, in the year 2023, right? So obviously the gameplay you're seeing in the background is, again, from earlier today, and should be kind of familiar in terms of what you've seen before. Now, with that being said, if you don't have the disc or anything like that, I mean, should you or should you not, make a purchase or a repurchase of the old discs, as well as whether or not you've got the consoles, right? The Xbox 360 or the Xbox One or the Xbox Series S or X. Should you or should you not make the repurchase? Is it a lot of fun playing? Does it bring you back? Now, listen, yes, I was brought back to previous memories and experiences, and about an hour or so later, when my muscle memory really started to remember this game, I was starting to play a lot better and everything else. And another thing is, like, I've got a total of 66 days played in Call of Duty Black Ops 2. It is my personal most time played Call of Duty ever, and it is also the Call of Duty that I consider probably the best of the bunch in terms of multiplayer, right? And I love and adore Black Ops 1. I love and adore Black Ops 3, as well as a few others. But with that being said, Black Ops 2 is probably the most time I've ever spent playing a Call of Duty game. Like, in terms of a specific title, Black Ops 2, I believe, is number one, with Black Ops 3 in a close second. Now, I want to tell you how I felt after my 2-hour session was done, or should I say even before my 2-hour session was done. I felt like I've been there before and I've done that. And I kind of ended up believe it or not, getting bored because I was familiar with everything, way too familiar with everything. I knew the maps, I knew the weapons, everything like that. And as good as it feels, even though it doesn't feel quite the same anymore, because again, I mean, granted, it was only 3,600 people playing, not as many. So, I mean, I was getting 4 bars, but at the same time, there were still some skips here and there, a little bit of inconsistencies. Again, probably because I wasn't host. That was probably it as well, because it was a peer-to-peer thing or whatnot. But anyway, at the end of the day, um, I started feeling just way too familiar to the point where I was starting to get bored. Like I started feeling that hint of boredom come in. And the reason for this is because we've all been there. Even if they were to remaster my favorite Call of Duty, your favorite Call of Duty, whatever it is, it's not going to be the same anymore. It's not going to feel the same like it once did. I know that during Infinite Warfare, Modern Warfare, or COD 4 Remastered, should I say Modern Warfare, remastered, the original Modern Warfare, like, obviously a lot of people really liked it and stuff like that, but I'm sure even though there were people that grinded the hell out of it, I'm sure for a lot of people they had a lot of fun with it in the beginning, and then after a while they were like, yeah, as fun as it is, it's like, I'm not going to grind the game like I grinded the original COD 4, because this is COD 4 even though it's remastered, but I've been there before, despite the fact that the graphics might be better, yada yada yada. I've been there before. And you see what I mean? So ultimately at the end of the day, we've gone through the motions of that exact same experience. And this is another reason why games like the upcoming XDefiant are just, it's great that they're different and they're not the same. 100% great, because they've got the arcade shooter genre, which is what we want, but at the same time, it's not a cut and paste Call of Duty, which is why you can't call it, well, one of the reasons why you can't call it Call of Duty, or you can't even call it the COD Killer, among other things as well. It's like, dude, like, as a matter of fact, by the time I was done with this session, I felt like playing XDefiant. I couldn't wait for XDefiant to come out. And the thing is, in my mind, I kept on thinking, I was like, I can just imagine. I was like, you know what? When this game is fully optimized, when it releases, with the servers being even better than they were in the open beta, and with the hit detection working like the way it should, and the hit registration, and the weapons, the time to kill being better because of the connection being more smooth and consistent and stuff like that, right? And the differences in terms of what we experience, with the maps and the game modes and stuff like that. XDefiant, at the end of the day, is its own thing, but it is an arcade shooter, and it does feel to a certain degree like Call of Duty, but it is not Call of Duty. And it's those differences that's going to make XDefiant the great game that it could potentially be, in my opinion. And that is what the Call of Duty community needs. If anything, when you go back to play these older Call of Duty games, you know what you're going to realize? You are more likely to realize that, yes, we need something different. We've been here before. Because the thing is, if that wasn't the case, Activision would have never made anything beyond Black Ops 2. They would have just kept making money beyond Black Ops 2. No, actually, you know what? Activision wouldn't have made anything beyond Black Ops 1. You know why? Because to this day, Black Ops 1 is actually the most sold Call of Duty ever made. And if they could have figured out a way to just keep that same game live and just given it expansions and continuing to make the same amount of money that they've always made, and then some, guess what? They'd never make a new Call of Duty again, because you know how Activision is. So ultimately, but the thing is, they know that wouldn't fly, because the community and gamers in general and just people in general want that new experience every single time. No matter how similar Call of Duty games are, the fact that they all feel a little bit different and control a little bit different, and the maps, the way they work, and the streaks and all that kind of stuff, for better or for worse, it is a different experience. So therefore, it is fresh, it is new. Even though there's a lot of the same elements put into it, it works, right? Because they kept on profiting year after year after year. So this is, again, why XDefiant this is another reason why XDefiant, being what it is actually a good thing. So so at the end of the day, my opinion is that you shouldn't, if you don't have the discs, don't play them. It's only gonna, the nostalgia and the fun factor and everything else is only gonna last a very short period of time, and then you'll start feeling that all familiar feeling again, and you're like, yeah, no different, not much change, I just want to play something else, something new. Yeah, I might as well go back and play, such and such game that I was playing before, or whatever it is. It was nice while it lasted, nice couple of hours, but been there before, and I don't really feel like repeating myself over and over again. So that's basically what it is. So at least that's how I felt. Now granted, there is a chance that you could feel different, but in all likelihood, it's likely that you are going to eventually, whether it takes you slightly longer or slightly sooner, you're going to eventually feel basically very similar to how I felt probably, especially if you were the kind of Call of Duty devotee at one point like I was. So, so in as I get closer to ending this commentary, I just want to say that, you know, obviously the classic Call of Duty feel. We want a classic arcade shooter, which what we're getting with XDefiant, and hopefully that'll help spawn more games like that. And who knows, maybe Treyarch will make a good game. But like I said before, as long as engagement optimization matchmaking is in there, I will never touch a new Call of Duty game ever again. I don't even care if it's made by Treyarch. They can give me the best news ever in terms of the gameplay and all that other stuff. But let me tell you, if engagement optimization matchmaking is in the game, I am not playing it. Simple as that. I'm not going to play it. I'm not going to support it. So that's as far as Call of Duty is concerned. But ultimately, we need to let go. The experiences that we had back in 2013, or even after the game's life cycle for a few years, that was a different time then, and a lot has changed since then. And on top of that, we've played it so much since then. So, Call of Duty just needs to keep moving forward. We can't rely on nostalgia to get us from point A to point B anymore. It's a good thing for a temporary fix. I mean, take a look at, for instance, the Dead Space game, right? The remaster that they brought back. For instance, and again, great remaster. Same thing with Resident Evil 4. Again, great remasters. Everybody loved the shit out of them. But are you going to be grinding those games like time and time again? No. Once you're done, beating them and doing everything there is to do, chances are you won't. But if you like it, though, you may try it again, or you may come back to it like on a yearly basis or something like that and revisit it because it's just that much of a meaningful game to you. But does it hit the exact same way as it did before? No, of course not. Even if you were to play the original, the non-remastered, right? Does it hit the same like it once did? No, of course not. And the same thing goes with the multiplayer games. Black Ops 2, even to this day, even if there were no hackers and everything was fixed, and if the player count was where it was and stuff like that, it's not going to hit the same because we've been there before. We're very familiar with everything. There's nothing really new. So therefore it's like kind of like revisiting. It's like having a similar experience over and over again, which is fine in the beginning when you get that something new, but eventually it's going to wear off. This is why people don't play even their favorite Call of Duties as much or hardly at all anymore, because again, they've been there, they've done that, they've gone through the motions, and there's no sense in doing that again, at least not beyond maybe a couple of hours or so, in my opinion. So if you think that spending, if you're going to buy digitally, anywhere from 20 to 30 or 40 bucks for a classic arcade, for a classic Call of Duty on the Xbox, any one of the Xbox consoles is worth it to you just for those couple of hours of fun, then hey, who am I to tell you what to do with your money, right? But if you're expecting to be like, if you're expecting to play the game for a few weeks or months on end, it is unlikely that that will happen because of the fact that, again, you're all too familiar with it already. Maybe for a couple of people that might be the case, but for most of us, that is actually very unlikely to be the case. So, it just doesn't hit anymore. It just doesn't hit the same way anymore. And there's certain things that I'm always going to love. Like in 1991, when Terminator 2 came out, okay, it was a movie that myself and other people were just watching over and over and over and over again, right? In the beginning. But were we doing that over and over and over again for after a while? No. Once we got our fix, it's like we would still watch it every so often, but we wouldn't want to see it again and again and again, time after next after next. I mean, that's how I was, at least, right? And I was a kid. I was in 1991, I was like 7, 8 years old when T2 came out. And I couldn't get enough of it. I was watching it off and on all day. So, but then after a while, that just didn't happen anymore. And that's because you're always going to want something new. There's always going to be new movies, new entertainment, stuff like that. So at the end of the day, if anything, we just need something new, and XDefiant is coming in perfect for this. And to top it off, and again, I'm glad that it's not a cut and paste 100%. I'm glad that it has its own unique feel to it and its own look, its own color palette, the maps, the way the maps are designed, even the factions themselves, right? And the way the game modes are different as well. The subtle differences between your traditional Call of Duty game modes and what they're doing here. So ultimately, the change is good, and things need to keep on moving forward. And we can keep the memories that we've had of Black Ops 2 and some of the other Call of Duties that we've experienced. Absolutely. We can talk about them. We can revisit them every once in a while. We can even replay the games every once in a while. But it's not going to, it's those good feelings that we had when we played those games in the past are not going to return. And that's just the way it is, really. It's time to create new memories and such. You know, even if Nintendo were to do an Xbox Game Pass of their classic games, do you think I'm going to spend more than one time beating Donkey Kong Country? No, I'm going to beat Donkey Kong Country, and then eventually I'll go on and maybe play some Donkey Kong Country 2, or maybe not even at all. I'll probably take a break and then, you know, go back to what I'm regularly playing. And then when I get that nostalgic feeling again, then I'll go on to Donkey Kong Country 2 or something like that, because of, you know, maybe streaming it or something like that. But I'm not going to be playing it like I did when I was a kid. And it's because I was very familiar with it. I've been there before. I've experienced it before. And I just want that something new, that variety and stuff like that. And I'm always going to be craving that something new. It's simple as that. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I want you to let me know down in the comment section what you think about this matter, about this subject, and if you've gone back to play any of these classic Call of Duty titles, whether it's Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, Modern Warfare 3, whichever flavor it is. I want to know what your experience is. What's your experience? What is your favorite Call of Duty multiplayer title of all time? What do you think of the matter? And what do you think of XDefiant? And do you agree or disagree with everything that I said? So let me know down below. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch and or listen, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.